shame when it comes to weight loss? Shame is the biggest enemy when it comes to weight loss. Now, I want to tell you this by giving an example of a client of mine. So she was experiencing this shame as a feeling. She had decided to lose some weight, and she actually lost around 2 kilos in a week's time. But her brain was still going to shame. It was predicting that as an obstacle for the coming week. When I asked her what was the shame about, she said it was because I can't do hard things, or it's very hard to lose weight, and she couldn't really come up with the right reason why she was experiencing shame. She felt it was a huge decision to lose this weight. But then when I dug deeper, I was like, but what is the shame about? What is so shameful about doing hard things? And she was like, I think it's because I don't think I have enough willpower, and I think I'm weak. I was like, okay, so tell me more. What do you do when you have shame? Because you're thinking, I don't have enough willpower, or I'm weak. And the first response that she gave me was that she eats. She eats because she feels so bad, and eating is something which makes her feel better. She knows food is always available for her every time she feels bad. So she eats and she feels better. And she also said she doesn't pay attention to the clothes she's wearing. She likes fashion, but she's not able to enjoy herself dressing up. She doesn't allow herself to dress up. She's hiding. She hides behind her old baggy clothes, which might be fashionable, but she doesn't see it that way. She doesn't see fashion in her clothes because she's ashamed. She doesn't show the world the fashionable side in her. She also feels guilty. She feels guilty for not committing to the process. And as a result of that thought, where she's thinking, I don't have enough willpower, or where she's thinking, I'm weak, she continues to stay weak. And she continues to see the evidence of how she lacks willpower when it comes to eating, when it comes to dressing up. That's what the thought, which is influencing that shame, is doing for her. It creates a result which proves what she's thinking, which is she doesn't have willpower. And also it deprives her of what she really likes, which is to be fashionable, to like fashion, to see herself in those fashionable clothes. Now, this is the power of thinking. So when I asked her, was it true that she doesn't have willpower? She was like, no, actually, I have willpower and I'm strong in so many areas. I'm very courageous. I have done a lot of hard things, she said. And then on further inquiry, when I asked her, how did she lose those 2 kilos? She was like, normally I have this reflex action where I come home from work, after work, and I go directly to the kitchen. I open the fridge and I start eating. But the last 2 times, she remembers she was playing with courage. She had the conversation in her mind like, I'm not weak. I think I'm courageous. I think I can do hard things. So for the last 2 days, she was like telling herself, I'm courageous. Maybe I will not do this. Is it willpower? Don't know. But it worked for her. And that felt very soothing for her. And then her actions were like, she didn't go to the kitchen and open up the fridge and eat the food. So that's the work. It's not just about going on a diet. It's not just about doing that exercise. What is your thinking behind that exercise, behind that diet, behind the way you're eating? Because if you don't change your thinking, that action might not happen. And even if you do those actions of like being strictly on that diet, using a lot of willpower, it will not work. Because willpower is always exhausted. we have like a limited amount of willpower throughout the day. So if we have a good day, we might have some willpower at the end of the day. But if we had a shitty day, we used up all our willpower throughout the day. At the end of the day, you have no willpower. So we can't really rely on willpower for this. So some days you're just going to give in. But if you tap into the thoughts like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I want to do this. I'm going to get it done no matter what. And you keep at it every day, where you're having a conversation where you're like really telling yourself that you can do it. Instead of telling yourself that I don't have willpower, I'm weakness, like I'm not strong enough. If you engage in those conversations or those feelings of shame, or if you see yourself eating out of control and not looking at yourself fashionably, you know what you're thinking. And if you keep practicing the thoughts that I can do this, I have done hard things, and keep at it every day, you might actually feel courageous to do the uncomfortable things. You might feel committed to do the uncomfortable things. You might plan your meals no matter what. You might assess what happened the night before, the way you ate, why you ate. You might decide, okay, what was working in that, and what would I like to do today? You will get some insight into what your brain is doing. There will be days when you will give in because your old brain will take over and you will just land up eating the way you always eat. But then, if you keep doing this work, you might start seeing that your brain remembers that, oh, maybe we can do this hard thing. And then some days you are in the process of giving in, but you will stop. Like you will take 2 bites of the food unconsciously, and then for the 3rd bite, you might stop. Like you have taken the 2 bites and you don't want to eat the 3rd bite because it's not on plan. Or you might keep doing the work and then you might reach the fridge but then not take the food. Or you might reach the fridge and decide to not open the door and just like take a walk in the kitchen and come back. Or sometimes you might even decide that, you know what, it's a lot of work to go walking to the kitchen, and you will be like, let me just sit here and allow whatever urge I'm having. So that is possible if you stay committed to the thought behind those actions. Like you can really create the result from your mind without having to use willpower in the action line, because you've already spoken to yourself about it, where you have already given instructions to your brain so that the lower brain or the habitual brain doesn't take over. That is available for you. That's how we change our thinking around food that is not serving us. So if you're someone who wants to lose weight with the mindset work by being intentional, listen to all my podcasts, follow the link in bio and go catch them. I have so many podcasts where I talk about all the different ways how we can manage our mind when it comes to food. And if you are someone who needs that one-on-one support to lose the weight immediately, please follow the link in bio and set up a strategy call with me where we will understand what is going on with you and what are the ways that we can actually work together until we get to the result, which is weight loss, and maintain it so that you don't relapse into the old way of eating.